I actually want to have a little debate about this one topic with you. Is I saw some stats about Kevin de Bruyne and Bruno Fernandes,
Mm.
just comparing them since Fernandes joined United.
Yeah. We're talking about, okay, not just the season,
No,
since
no,
he's joined.
since Fernandes joined,
Okay.
and those stats of passing, shots, goals, assists, chances created, minutes played, Fernandes has been by far the superior player.
Mm.
But now we obviously know De Bruyne's caliber. We know what he's capable of. We know the kind of player he is. And now this kind of then ties into the debate that we were having last weekend about uh, how is De Bruyne and Manchester City going forward now without David Silva in the midfield. Obviously now De Bruyne is carrying the full creative burden on his shoulders now. And is that now becoming a bit too much for him?
I think in this derby it showed a little bit, at least I might be wrong, but it's a weird thing to look into, but De Bruyne's body language in the game looked off.
Yes.
A lot of the time when he'd make a pass or he'd be just linking up and building up play and one of the other teammates would lose the ball, he'd flail his arms in the air and you'd see how frustrated he was, and which is understandable. Obviously, you have high expectations on yourself and your teammates, sure, but I mean, you'd rather want to see him get off, push on the defender, try win the ball back, up the intensity, motivate your teammates, because he's one of the more
He's certainly one of the leaders in that group.
exactly. He's a leader in that team. So with the new players that are coming through, or the lack of other leaders in the team, you'd want to see him kind of stand up and I think lead the press. Or that might not be his role, but at least in morale to lead the team in that sort of way. And he wasn't doing that for me. He looks really frustrated, to be honest. And I think that has a toll because you don't see that with Bruno. He doesn't look or doesn't portray that same sort of body language as De Bruyne does. Sure, that's just in recent games, but I mean the stats you could say speak for themselves. It does prove the point that if you're going to pick a guy based on numbers, it's going to be Bruno, of course,
100%.
just purely based on numbers. Even with the argument that De Bruyne has, we know what his caliber is. I'm quite hesitant to argue based on that purely because the majority of that caliber has been seen with him playing next to David Silva, and I'm not sure if I'm willing to bet to pick a player based on how he's played with a single other player. So I would say that Bruno wins this debate.
Yeah, I'd agree with that as well. I think Fernandes has come into United's side and he's taken control. He's taken charge. He's doing what people thought Pogba would do. He's been that creative spark. He's been the heart of the midfield, and I think he's fulfilling that classic number 10 role of getting the ball, distributing, dribbling, passing, running, the full works.
Yeah.
And I think then on top of that, he's also got the leadership mentality. We've heard him criticize the attitude at Manchester United and all of that, and speak out against players who aren't fighting for the badge and all of that. So I think, based purely on that, De Bruyne, I don't think he can handle the creativity side and then the leadership side.
Yeah.
I think with David Silva there, Silva was the leader. He was marshalling those front three guys. Okay, shift across, do this, do that, press now, cut the passing lane. Whereas I don't think De Bruyne is doing that. I think De Bruyne just wants to be on the ball. He wants to be playing the cutthroat pass. He wants to be taking the shot from distance. And I think trying to be the focal point in that midfield is now taking a toll on him.
That might not have been his choice. It's probably just because of the lack of depth or players that can fit the role that Silva had. So they have a problem there. That maybe it's not his choice. It's just what he's been pushed into. But even beyond that, I think the way that a player acts has a lot more impact than what people give credit to, because they've talked about, or at least from what I've read about Ronaldo's influence at Juventus, is that I think Pirlo even said they're addicted to him, in that he has such an aura that, and his intensity and his attitude that he brings to the team, not even just in terms of how he plays and the goals, just the fact that you know who you're playing with and you know what he stands for and the high expectations, it ups your game. Being around a player like that will up your game. And I think when you're around players that land up very visibly displaying their emotions like that, like the way he was in that game, that can be very demoralizing.
Yeah.
So purely based on that, not even goals, not stats, anything, purely based on that, I wouldn't want to have a player like that in my team, because the impact is not only on him, but it will spread to the rest of the players.
Certainly when he's one of the guys who've been at the club for this period of time now. He's been there for a long time.
Yeah.
And he's the heart of the midfield. Guys look to him all the time.
Yeah.
If there's an attack, he's probably involved in it.
Yeah.
So to see a guy now loses the ball and he throws his arms up and then he starts walking back.
Yeah. No, it's completely demoralizing.
Yeah,
you hate to play with guys like that, because it makes you feel like you got to double your workload to cover for him. But then he's not doing the runs, and if he gets the ball, he's in a good position. He gets the goal, he's the glory boy, but he's not putting in the same defensive shift, and that's just as important. Winning back the ball, I mean, it takes a lot of effort, and it's demoralizing to press just by yourself. So
I agreed. I think it's tough though, because he is one of the veterans at City.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say he's undroppable, but I'm sure Guardiola doesn't want to drop him for that reason. I mean, you can't drop someone with that quality. You expect him to be not necessarily the match winner, but you expect him to be the unsung hero if he's not being the hero. So I don't know if it requires just a strong talking to from Pep, or if he needs another player to come in alongside him.
I think that's it. He needs another player.
I think
he
so.
really does, because I don't think that it's all on him. I think it is the situation City's in. And they need to have another creative player next to him.
I think so.
Because it just doesn't look like it's working. And it is a little bit unfair to take someone who's been used to that position and who's been used to being in a role that is to deliver certain kinds of passes, to be involved in certain plays, and now you're just shoving him into the deep end to take over both roles that he previously was just doing one half. So I think they need to get that other half in, and it'll benefit him a lot, I think.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that entirely.
So that in that sense, you could argue that while De Bruyne being put in the right place will make you change your mind, because his stats have been really good in some seasons.
No, they have. They've
fantastic.
Been outstanding.
So, I mean, player of the season sort of caliber. So obviously he's a good player, but probably just smarter or wiser use of him is what's required.